I've been wanting to do a session on the thumbs. I've done them on all the fingers. And I'm going to go over some of this right now on how variable the thumb is with the hand. And it really means a lot whether somebody has a long willpower phalanx of the thumb or the logic or the communication. And it's very important whether they have a rigid thumb or a wasted thumb or a flexible thumb. They're different personalities and they're different forms of intellect, and it's good to know the difference. So we'll start from to the right side. And when somebody has a long first phalanx, the nail phalanx of the thumb, it gives them a lot of willpower. And if they have a malformed first phalanx, sometimes it means that they have a deficiency there, or if it's very thin. And I'm not talking about somebody with a physical disability. I'm talking about a normal situation. But you notice that it's malformed. And that's the case with somebody overindulges, or they lose their temper real quick, and they're turned to anger if it's malformed up here on the nail phalanx. Or if it's very thin, then they may have a very weak willpower, and they may overindulge or overdrink or take some kind of a vice. And the second phalanx of the thumb, there's actually three besides what we would consider Venus, but I'll go over that. So this is willpower, and this is logic. If you see that the logic is a lot larger than the willpower, the person's a thinker before they act. And if you see the willpower is much larger, then they're acting more through stubbornness than actually logic. Now, the third phalanx of the thumb, and this is even before we go to the Venus joint, has to do with communication. If the person has a pretty big third phalanx, which is almost sometimes doesn't even look like it's there with a lot of people, then the communication is either average or they have poor communication. The third thing to look for is whether they have a rigid thumb, and these palmistry cards are very good. If you look up palmistry cards, this is part of the set. And this is considered extremely strong-willed. They're not flexible at all. It's my way or the highway. And the second one is the wasted thumb, which is they have more of a spiritual outlook to exactly what the card says here. So you have a wasted thumb, you have a full rigid thumb, which is strong-willed. And then you have somebody who's very flexible and adaptable. It's almost what I call the hitchhiker's thumb. It's probably a funny way of putting it, but that shows a different personality. So when we look at the thumb, this is the nail phalanx of the thumb. You have will, logic, communication, and then you go into the Venus mount with the lifeline. And as I explained before, this has a lot to do with energy, and some people, relate to Venus as sexuality because of the physical strength of the person. But then you look at another thing. With this, if they have do they have a straight headline or do they have a sloping headline? Both of them would be considered very normal with going along with logic. However, if you see a lot of islands and chains on the headline, then you check the lifeline to see if it's physical, because then this would be an emotional problem. So we are now able to analyze somebody by willpower, logic, communication, and whether they have a straight or a sloping headline, and whether it's chained or island in any way, and is it physical, which means it could be headaches and insomnia and stuff due to a physical problem, or is it an emotional situation? So if you see a chained or island headline, and you see nothing on the physical end, which is the lifeline,